Deebo Samuel was just traded to the Washington Commanders, which makes you think, what other trades are going to happen this offseason? What's going on, Turf Talk Land? TJ here. Today we're going into 5 players who could potentially get traded this NFL offseason. Player who's hit the news a lot lately this offseason is Myles Garrett, who formally requested a trade with the Cleveland Browns, stating that he wants to win. Myles Garrett did claim that he will take a pay cut and restructure his contract to go to a team that wants to win for them to afford him. The former All-Pro and Defensive Player of the Year will be 30 next year in December and is still in the peak of his prime, recording 14 sacks the past 2 seasons, winning Defensive Player of the Year last year, and being in the race this year. Some teams that would fit perfectly for Garrett right now are the Buffalo Bills, who are in dire need of a stud edge rusher, the Philadelphia Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl and are losing some guys to free agency edge rusher-wise, the Washington Commanders, who have money that they can still pay him, but also need that guy on the defensive line to put them over the hump, and the Detroit Lions, that last year, if they had another guy, would have potentially won the Super Bowl after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. The Bills and Eagles have both reportedly been in talks with the Cleveland Browns about the trade and have been aggressive about it, where the Lions at the trade deadline this season were aggressively talking to the Cleveland Browns about a trade as well. Another potential trade candidate for this offseason is Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is 27 years old and just in 2022 signed a 3-year, $72 million extension. This would put him as a pending free agent next season. Metcalf has been talked about in trades for a while, as DK Metcalf is a 3-time 1,000-yard receiver, just came up short this season, but has consistency issues with dropping the ball and just being an all-around guy every week. The Seahawks obviously have former first-round pick Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's looking to take that wide receiver 1 role after a really impressive Pro Bowl season, where that could kind of send DK Metcalf off and make it a mutual agreement for both to part ways. Some teams that can potentially trade for DK Metcalf include the Green Bay Packers, who could be in search for a wide receiver 1, as they have a lot of guys that are good, but they don't have that wide receiver 1. Metcalf would be that guy for Jordan Love and could help a lot of other people get open. The Las Vegas Raiders are another team that could acquire DK Metcalf through trade, as they're looking for a true wide receiver 1 after the departure of Devontae Adams. Plus, they have former Seattle Seahawks coach Pete Carroll there that could make it happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers are another team and look for a wide receiver, as just last year, their offense died at the end of the year, as their only playmaker was George Pickens, so they struggled to get the ball. Having another receiver next to Pickens could be what can take that offense to the next level. Finally, once again, the Buffalo Bills, as they've reportedly been checking up on DK Metcalf. They passed on DK Metcalf in the 2019 NFL Draft for Cody Ford, and DK is the perfect wide receiver for Buffalo, as he's a great blocker, he's physical, and he could be that fast guy that Josh Allen hasn't had. Another wide receiver potentially on the trade block is Cooper Kupp. Kupp requested a trade just a little bit ago from the Rams, and it's looking like both organizations are going to want a fresh start. Former Offensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP has a 3-year, $82 million contract, which is quite a hefty price for a receiver who's been struggling to stay on the field and be healthy. But when he's playing, that contract is so worth it. Cooper Kupp is still a game changer and will get open and is one of the best route runners in the league. Potential wide receiver needy teams that could make this deal include the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, like I said before, they're in need of another guy to have next to George Pickens to take their offense to the next level, as these past few years, their offense has been nothing but sluggish. The New England Patriots are another team who are in deep need of a wide receiver who could help their young quarterback Drake May develop. Kupp obviously wouldn't be competing for a Super Bowl in New England, but he'd be a key factor to developing that young quarterback, plus they have the money to pay him still. The Houston Texans are another team that could be a great fit for Cooper Kupp, as they're looking to be in the wide receiver market, as Stephon Diggs, coming off an ACL tear, will be a free agent, and Tank Dell, with that awful injury late in the season against the Chiefs, is looking like he won't play next year. So getting another guy next to Nico Collins that can get open for Stroud and try to put them over the hump, as Stroud is still on a rookie deal, is perfect for them. And the final team that I'm going to list is the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have been looking to have a wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb since the departure of Amari Cooper. They signed Brandon Cooks just a few years ago, as that hasn't really worked out for them, but getting a guy next to CeeDee Lamb is what they need to do to take some pressure off of them and really elevate their offense and bring them back into playoff and Super Bowl contention. Another potential trade candidate, Atlanta Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts. Pitts is only 24 years old, And being the former 4th overall pick shows a lot of potential that he still has in this league. But he's struggled since his historic rookie season, staying on the field and being consistent while on the field. Kyle Pitts is entering the final year of his rookie deal, and as it keeps going on, it just looks like a fresh start is needed for both the Falcons and Kyle Pitts. Potential people who could trade for Kyle Pitts include the Kansas City Chiefs, who tight end is a position of need for them at this point, as Travis Kelce is going to be 36 soon, and has really shown as of late that he is getting up there in age and he might be washed. So Kansas City might be in the market for another high-value tight end who could change their team. Once again, the Patriots are in the mix, as they do have the most cap space in the NFL, so if they wanted to extend Pitts, they'd have the money to do it. But they're another team that doesn't really have weapons. I mean, tight end-wise, yeah, they have Hunter Henry, but Pitts is a guy who can go out and play out wide, too, at wide receiver. And then finally, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are in a little bit of a pickle with the money situation right now, but the Bengals would not pass up on adding more firepower to their offense. Having Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, potentially T. Higgins, and Kyle Pitts with Chase Brown in the backfield sounds like an amazing offense. The Bengals have never really had a tight end. I mean, Mike Gesicki was really good for them last year, but Gesicki was only on a 1-year deal and will be a free agent once again in about 2 weeks. So why not bite the bullet and take Pitts? A potential corner on the market is J.C. Horn. The 25-year-old is coming off of his first Pro Bowl nod and his best season of his career. Horn struggled early to stay on the field his first 3 years of his career, as he was injured a lot those first 3 years, but these past 2 years have shown a lot of improvement in not only staying on the field, but just being a great shutdown corner for a disappointing Carolina Panthers team. Horn is coming up on the final year of his rookie contract, and he's looking like he could get a big payday, as he's been a great corner on the field. But maybe the Panthers don't want to pay him and they look into trading him. Here are some teams that would be a perfect fit for J.C. The Minnesota Vikings are the first team that would be a perfect fit for J.C. Horn, as they don't really have much corners on their roster right now who are certified studs. They'll have to re-sign Byron Murphy, but matching up a lockdown corner like J.C. Horn and a ball hawk like Byron Murphy is perfect. Our team in market for a cornerback this year is the Baltimore Ravens. Matching up Marlon Humphrey, J.C. Horn, and Nate Wiggins is perfect for what Baltimore wants to do, and that's make a Super Bowl run. That is 3 outstanding cornerbacks that could put them over the hump. The Las Vegas Raiders are another team who they've needed a corner for a while, and getting a shutdown guy like Horn would be perfect for their new era under Pete Carroll. And finally, the Washington Commanders are another great team that could fit in for J.C. Horn, as they have the money to pay him, and they're a team who needs a corner, as just last year in the NFC Championship, it showed that their secondary struggled hardcore against the Eagles' star-powered wide receivers. Are any of these guys going to get traded? What do you think? Leave a comment, like, subscribe. I'm Landon Kostusiak. Peace.